Greetings and salutations, all you beautiful people, and welcome to another episode of Art of the Beholder, a show dedicated to all things eclectic in the world of art. I'm your host, Novo, and today we're going to be talking about art in, this is a good one, guys, photography and music. And I know what you're thinking. These are two subjects we definitely talk about on the show a lot, but not usually together. Well, we're doing that today because we have two very special guests who, you guessed it, are a photographer and a musician, respectively. But these individuals aren't just artists in their own right, they're also married to each other. So, a really interesting chat ahead. So, let's meet them first. First up, we have Denise Jambor. Miss Jambor is a photographer by trade who's currently working as a wedding and portrait photographer, but still makes time to travel the world for exclusive photo shoots and exhibitions. Next is her husband, singer-songwriter Claas P. Jambor, who's released 8 studio albums, has a number of hit singles to his name, and has won multiple awards throughout his career. And today, guys, they're sitting down with us to talk shop. So please, guys, give a warm welcome to Denise and Claas Jambor. Guys, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hello. Thanks for having us.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. This is so different. I'm excited because we've had roundtables, we've had guests, but we've never had interviewees that are married to each other. So there's a lot to discuss. So let's do what we always do. I want our audience to get to know you guys first. So I want you just to tell us about yourself. But since you guys are married, I know there's a storied history before you guys even met. So Denise, let's start with you. Like, tell me about your journey to become a photographer and kind of the trials and tribulations. And then Claas, I want to hear how you became a musician. And then guys, I want to hear how you guys met.
So I'm originally from Germany. So I grew up in Germany. I was born there. And I found in our attic my dad's old camera. That's how it actually started. It's an old film camera. And I just started playing around with it. And I really loved learning manual photography and film. And my uncle at that time used to be just like a hobby photographer. And he just explained a little bit of stuff to me, and I just played around. And so that was my first beginning or contact with photography. And after I finished school, or before I finished school, I went to a school that was doing all kinds of design, graphics design, interior design, art, and all kinds of stuff like that. So I was introduced to a lot of art there, but photography was the one thing that just kept with me or spoke to me the most.
Like it chose you.
Yes, kind of. And then after school, I actually went and had a formal photography education. So in Germany, it's a little different system.
Yeah, take us through that. What's the system?
So I went to school and worked in a studio at the same time. So you basically start working as a photographer immediately, or an assistant in that case.
Oh. Okay, right away.
Yeah, and you still have to go to school. So one day of the week you go to school
Double
and
duty.
have to learn all the theory and all that stuff. And then the rest of the week you go and work. And you still have to do exams and finals to get your diploma, basically, to be a photographer. And that was for 3 years.
Do you look back and say, how did I even do that?
Yes. It was a hard time. It was in a commercial studio. It was pretty big. We were 50 photographers there. And it was basically, I learned to be a handyman.
Okay.
I was laying down floors, painting walls, doing all the big setups. And then we would take pictures of bedding or curtains or sofas. We would build kitchens, stuff like that.
So guys, if you also need a roofer, besides just the photography, I guess you could hire for a little of everything. Okay.
Yes, I definitely learned more than just photography.
She also bakes great bread.
Okay. Oh man. And then Claas, kind of tell us your journey as well. How'd you become such a storied musician?
I was also born in Germany, and I think I was forced to play the piano when I was 5, and I despised everything. Um,
Good
but
theory, though. You learn
yes,
a lot, good chords and stuff
absolutely.
like that. Yeah.
But later on, became pretty obvious to me that the stage was what I wanted to do, and music was the first door that opened. So even as a teenager, I started gigging around and just doing things over in Germany, and I did spend. It wasn't really an exchange year, but let's just call it that in the US during that time when I was 16, 17, and I'd started playing down in Houston, Texas a little bit, and just, with people. And it became a passion that I just couldn't shake. And so then right after school, there were opportunities to start making money with it. And so back then, correspondence university wasn't as developed as it was now. So I tried to do university at the same time as touring, and that failed miserably. But yeah, then there were suddenly record contracts, and there were tours, and there was the highs and lows and buffaloes of all of that.
Sounds like it came on fast. Did it just seem like a whirlwind?
It always takes way too long, and then suddenly it happens really fast, and then it's gone really fast again, and then it takes way too long for the next thing to happen. Yeah, I think it's the whole hurry up and wait, and then wait forever, and it's just, you always feel like you're caught between, you're the king of the world and no one cares. Yeah, it's a strange lifestyle.
So I have to ask, much like Denise, and your the camera choosing you, I do believe that we don't pick instruments, the instruments pick us. So what did you said you hated piano, but what was the instrument that really got a hold of you, Claas?
It was voice. I say that now with a raspy voice, and that was not on purpose. But I think altogether, it wasn't even, I don't even know if it matters as much. I think it was more the connection with an audience. And as a front man, which I was mostly, that's the closest. I probably toured with guitar and vocal the most, and piano was an extra, and it was great for studio work and for composition work. But yeah, I think it's more about the connection with an audience. If I could connect with an audience doing something else, I probably would have chosen that, but it happened to be singing, so that's what happened.
So would you say you fell more in love with the performances, the performative value of the music more than, being alone in the studio, so to speak?
Originally, yes. I think it's completely different now. I still love connecting with people, don't get me wrong, but I do love the studio work now. But if you would have asked me beginning 20s, I totally despised it.
And Denise, you have kind of there is with your craft, there is an audience in a way. There's a connection you have to have with individuals and working with people and seeing them maybe in a light that they don't even know how to see themselves. What's your favorite part of the craft? Do you like, working, like, do you like to be on set doing the shoot, or do you kind of fall in love with the editing phase and seeing how you can create a piece out of just a photo?
Good question. I think I like the mix of it, especially, of course, during COVID times when nobody went outside. I loved when we finally were able to go back and see people and take photos.
Amen. God.
So going to weddings and having so many people around me.
And so many happy people too.
Yeah,
everyone's like in the best mood ever, right?
Like, I love that part of just documenting such a happy moment of somebody's life, connecting with them before the wedding with engagement sessions or something else, and just being part of their story. But I'm also an introvert, so it really drains me.
Oh, okay.
So when I come home,
I did not know that. Okay.
Yes, I'm really.
Okay. You're done.
Yes, I'm done. I'm
Out
tired.
Of gas. Yeah.
And we call it in the vendor community, we call it the wedding hangover on the next day.
Oh.
So we just don't want to talk to anybody. And then I do enjoy some parts of the editing, but sometimes, of course, it can. I can spiral down and never stop, or I don't know, if it was a session that didn't really click with me, I just have a hard time connecting to the pictures. Then it just depends, I guess.
Okay, so now I'm very curious. How did you two meet? And then after that story, you know, yeah, I want to hear the whole story. Let's hear the wedding bells and everything like that. But I also, hearing that you guys are originally from Germany, how did you guys make it over to the States?
They told us it's warmer here. They lied.
Oh my God, they lied so much. Well, it depends. Depends on where you go, right? So then, yeah, how did you guys meet? Let's hear the story.
Um,
I'm guessing you're like looking at each other
Yeah,
right
like
now. You're
who's
like,
that?
Actually,
how do we
it's even
start?
worse. We are not looking at each other. I am staring at the floor.
It's like, how did it happen?
I played a gig at her town, in her town, and we met at that concert. But that was just a connection, and then there was a little bit of social media contact for a few years. And during those years, I was recording an album, and I needed pictures.
Uh-huh.
And Denise had written somewhere, somehow, that she was interested in taking pictures of musicians. And I thought this could be a free photo shoot.
Was it free, Denise, or did you charge them?
Well, I guess it was the most expensive one in his life. I did not charge him.
Yeah, so we had this photo shoot, and I mean, there was a lot of back and forth on how that was even possible with everyone's schedule. And after that photo shoot, I thought it might be a really good idea to pursue this woman. And so I did.
Some sparks flew, like
Some
you saw
sparks flew.
something more happened, and the rest, as they say, is history. And then how did you guys make it over to the States then?
Back then, I was already in the process of moving to the States. I was originally I came over to Kansas City just to take some time off. There was a band here in Kansas City that I utilized, or that I used as musicians for gigs over here. And when they had last seen me, they told me, "You look really tired and you need some time off." And I didn't have, I couldn't at the time when they offered, but a couple of years later, I asked if the offer still stood. So I came over, took my 6 months break. But of course, during that time, you get bored and you think of different things. And I felt like I was in a hamster wheel
Yeah.
back over in Europe, and just like, well, let's try something else. And so, yeah, that was like one of the conversations with Denise was, well, if you want to, if this is a serious thing, you need to at least consider moving to the US with me. My visa just got approved, and I'm going. Do you want to come? And she said, maybe.
Now, were you two already married at this point, or
This
were
is the
we?
very beginning of even dating. Where it's like,
Oh
oh,
goodness, I
it's
didn't
gonna be
know
long
that.
distance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man.
We played with open cards, so that was good.
Mhm.
Well,
Didn't-
I was still at that time in the middle of my photography
Oh, it's
education.
like
So
schooling and
yes,
okay.
so I couldn't
So you
just
were a little
pack and
more
go.
anchored. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So it turned out into like 2 years of long distance relationship, and
Oh, okay.
him coming
So
back
Class,
to
you
touring
were
and
here, and Denise, you were still back in
Mhm.
Germany. Okay, I didn't know that part of the story.
And there was a
So
lot of
you get
flying back and forth. Yes.
Oh my God. I've done long distance one time in my life. That is so hard. More power to you to you both. How did you guys do that?
Lots of flying back and forth.
Is it one of those kind of like the schooling thing? Like, I don't know how we did it. I mean,
I
you
think
clearly
so.
wanted to
Yes.
make it work, and
Yeah.
it worked. And then so yeah. So then Denise, did you move to the States and then you guys got married here, or did you guys get married in Germany?
basically every free time I had during my school time there, I came here. And after finishing school, I stayed for a little longer, like 3 months at a time, had to go back to Germany. And then we got engaged while I was here. And then we basically planned our wedding in 4 months
Oh my
from the
goodness.
US,
Ow. Oh man,
having
that's
it
tough.
in Germany. So
Oh
thanks to
man.
my parents for doing all the stuff. So yeah, we flew back, and basically we had to get married, getting all the papers ready. He went on tour. After he was done touring, we had our big reception celebration with friends, and then he came back to the US. and I had to get all my stuff ready to move.
Oh my God. Okay. Whirlwind. Was it a culture shock? How similar is it to Germany? How different is it?
That is an interesting question. A lot of it is very similar, and a lot of it is very, very different. Yeah, I'm trying to find a good way to pinpoint it.
Let me start with, I do have a question. Let me start with, does everyone, I know some, European countries and countries outside of the States are required to learn English. Like, did you guys learn English at a young age, or did you have to pick that up as you guys got older?
Yes, you have to learn it at a young age.
Okay.
Am
Like required in grade school kind of thing?
I started having English lessons in fifth grade. Yeah, I think fifth grade. I had the advantage of my father working in the U.S. when I was a kid for 3 years. So I think I was from like 5 to 8.
So you knew all the curse words.
I
No,
knew
I'm kidding.
and I knew all the Saturday morning cartoons. Yes.
Yes.
But differences that you asked. So I think, and this is like a not necessarily European, but German to American difference, is sometimes directness, or the threshold of where does, like, between politeness and telling the truth.
So that's
And
cultural.
yes,
Totally.
and that gets us in trouble a lot. So for example,
Yeah, give us a story.
if you come up to me as an American and I ask you, do you like my sweater? And you do not like my sweater, you will still tell me you like my sweater to support me. If you are a German coming up to me and I ask you, do you like my sweater? And you, as the German, you then, as a sign of respect to our friendship, will tell me you do not like the sweater. And that is actually a statement of trust and intimacy, that you will tell me the truth. So it would be considered a lie to then be polite and say, or it would be impolite in Germany to not say the truth, while here it's the other way around.
Oh,
So you can imagine that
that's tricky.
it's tricky.
Hey, we're getting better. I like to, when my wife says, hey, I want to wear this to our date night, and I don't like it, I will say, let's try maybe option B. What's the next one? What's the other one? And so I feel like we're getting better at trying to, we don't want to lie, right, to our
Right.
friends and family. But no, that makes total sense. We do that a lot. Yes, I can see that.
How many meals have you consumed on a regular basis because you did not tell the person the first time that you didn't like it?
I guess. Oh man, class. I
You got him.
well, I'm going to throw you a curveball. What I was about to say is, I think I may surprise you, because I am one of those rare Americans that, yeah, I do. I'll shoot you straight, man. Like, if I don't like something, I'm like, yeah, oh God, I don't want to do this. No.
I like that though. That at least I know where I'm at and I can deal with that way better.
Let's move on to, before we talk process, before we get into, I love talking craft. I love kind of get into the meat of what makes you guys tick as artists. I like to just hear inspirations, because I have so much fun, especially with musicians, but I'm always curious about photographers. Like, is there anybody along the way that you're like, damn, I want to be just like, like this person?
No, I don't think there's like this one person, one photographer I always looked up to. I mean, there's always people like, of course, Annie Leibovitz or Ansel Adams. They're just classic, doing phenomenal work. And I think it's just amazing what they do. But I never had this one person. I think it was more like I mentioned earlier, my uncle having a camera and just seeing other people creating. And I always felt inspired in all kinds of different ways, like not only photography. Is it painting, drawing? Is it music? Is it light? Is it a smell, a sound? It's like there's so many things that inspired me, or just a feeling. Yeah. When I moved here and I started doing more wedding photography after doing all the products, and the first person here, or the first wedding photographer here in town I really looked up to, was Jason Dominguez. I don't know if you have heard of him. And he just, I don't know, his work is so
Yeah, shout out
amazing
to
and speaks to
Jason.
me. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's amazing. It's just I love his work. It's so moody. It's so you look at a picture and it just tells a story, and he finds all the best angles and moments. And yeah, if I could be a little more like him, I would love that.
Okay. Class, what about you? Is there a musician, a band, an act where you're like, oh man, I want to do this?
Again, that is probably has shifted and changed over time.
Oh, you can give us multiple answers. There's no wrong answer.
I think I'm probably stuck somewhere between Prince and Def Leppard.
Hey, well, I was not expecting that at all. Prince and Def
I
Leppard. So
know, I
I
know,
want
I
to
know.
so a little purple rain and a little what? Pyromania?
Yeah, Purple Rain with some sugar on it.
Oh, I like that. That I think we have your next song, your next single.
But then again, if I listen to old Tom Waits, also my heart
Oh man,
melts, and
Rain Dogs. Oh,
it's and I can go down a rabbit hole with the Rolling Stones, and there's just this whole road movie of a generation that just kind of unveils itself when you listen to that music. And I am not a Beatles or Rolling Stones person. I like them both. I am inspired by both. There's too many to name. I think.
like you don't have a favorite song kind of thing by the Stones. It's like there's so many.
Well, even with the Stones, it's not as much about the one favorite song. I think it's the attitude. It's the invention of rock and roll. It's the like what we understand as rock and roll was kind of invented by them by distancing themselves from the Beatles and
Like
by putting on that
Exile,
different
you know.
persona. And yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And for some reason, they're the ones who survived.
They're gonna outlive all of us, guys.
Probably.
They're gonna live forever. Nothing will kill Keith Richards.
No, exactly. And like the Red Hot Chili Peppers forever will inspire me. There's but then I can also go down and listen to 12-tone music and
Yeah.
be inspired by gospel music. I
Yeah.
was just had a conversation with Isaac Cates, who's a gospel music composer and performer here in town, and he does like these mass choirs all around the world. And we were talking
Awesome.
about maybe doing something this summer, and I love that stuff. It's great. I mean, it's completely different from anything that I've ever done before, but it's just that's probably what makes it so interesting.
That is a great answer. Very eclectic. We went from Prince to Def Leppard to Stones to Red Hot Chili Peppers. Oh, that was a great answer.
And then most financial success in songwriting that I've had was with EDM, and I don't listen to
Really?
I don't listen to EDM at all. Never, ever. Exactly.
I grew up with I grew up when it was still called like techno or electronica. So I feel you. I feel you, man. We have a lot of eclectic tastes over here too. So yeah, we'll have to talk more shop when we get off, or maybe we'll have part 2 down the road, another
Yeah.
interview with the Jambors. But before we do that, let's talk process. I love to tell the story of someone's career through their art. So Denise, let's start with you. Like, how do you approach your pieces? Like, kind of walk us through how you build some of your photo shoots and get to the other end and have that piece that just lights up your client.
I think this really depends on what kind of work we're talking about.
Sure.
If it's like weddings, family sessions, if it's musicians, if it's headshots, I think that is
So would you say you start with the client first then? Like, what do you want, kind of a thing?
yes. I think so. So if it's a musician, I of course want to know like what is this for? Is this artwork? Is this for your album cover? Is this just like stuff for Instagram?
Sure.
What's your
Yeah.
music like? What's your style? So I need to get to know the people. And I guess that's in a sense for all of my work. I want to, because my work right now is based on portraits So I need to know who I'm taking pictures of. So I hate when I have a session and I've never met them before. So I'm the weird stalker and trying to find the people on Facebook just to have a face to the name.
No, that makes sense because you really want that identity to shine through the piece, right? You
Yeah.
want that soul to really transcend through, so you can get to that other side. That makes total sense.
Yeah, and so especially if it's a couple and I have an engagement session, I try to kind of find out just what's their humor, how they are like, how do they interact with each other. And of course, most people are nervous. They've never done a session before. Or usually I hear, oh, I'm really not photogenic. I'm really awkward. We're like the most awkward people. Like everybody tells that to me. I'm like, that's fine. I don't care. And it will be okay. Because I don't want to make them do something they don't like or they're not comfortable in. I want to take pictures of them and their relationship. So I try to just have a good time with them, try to give them something to do so they're not thinking about like, oh, I have to like look at that camera and smile. And I just want them to be together and have fun.
Have you ever wanted to do the complete opposite? Has there been a day where you're like, God, I just want to shoot vistas and landscapes and I want to, go to the zoo and just do the most beautiful giraffe pictures you've ever seen? Like, do you ever just get sick of people?
No, I'm not getting sick of people. I started with product photography and I got sick of that. Because
what was the worst one?
Curtains.
Oh God, that would be bad.
Yes, I got stuck with curtains for like 4 months straight.
You can just do so much with curtains, right? I mean,
exactly. It was
a ton.
So boring. I mean, I had a stylist and she was amazing. We were best friends at the end. But her job was the worst. Like she had to style these curtains and like needle them into the wood floor so they're not moving.
Bless their heart.
And of course I had to light it and everything. And I had to take like 5 pictures so they can stitch it together in post to make it look all amazing.
Yeah.
But it was so boring. And it was just, there's nothing new to it. It's a new color today, then tomorrow. And then we had sofas and it was green and then it was gray. And then the next year we start the same thing. And then I do Christmas and Easter.
You're making me hate it too. I've never
yes,
done this.
it was so redundant.
Like, oh God, just bring me the people back again.
Yeah, so
they smile.
Exactly. So I was just like, okay, I love having all this education in it. And I'm really, really thankful for that, that I learned how to utilize light and how to make this ugly product look like gold. But I just missed people interaction. Yeah, so I'm glad to work with people now. Before I started doing lots of weddings here when I moved here, I met with people in the city, just like other photographers, and we would walk around downtown and do just some like street photography, architecture, and I sometimes miss that a little bit. So yeah, being creative and doing my own stuff, I guess, or just like doing something without really thinking about there needs to be a purpose or like I need to find the that one thing that makes this couple shine like how they are. Just walking around and just doing whatever comes to my mind.
Do you ever play with crazy, either production techniques or post-production techniques? I guess we've always seen like those Instagram posts of like someone using like mirrors or they take something out at the last second, but then it looks like, this weird, almost like special effect, like an illusion, if you will, of, something like that. Do you ever play with that stuff, or do you just like to try to capture the realness of the pieces as best as possible?
Yeah, I think I did more in post or played around when I did more for studio work or fashion or just like fun creative stuff. Right now with the weddings and families and portraits, for me it's more about capturing the realness, capturing what's happening in the moment. I do bring stuff like copper pipes, like little pieces of copper pipes, and hold that in front of my camera, and it makes really cool effects. Or honestly, I just take my phone and hold that onto my lens, and then I have this weird reflection happening. So I do play around with stuff like that in the moment. Post production for my portraiture work doesn't look as crazy as, yeah, it's more Lightroom, easy stuff.
And I think she's being modest here. She does all kinds of stuff. It's just subtle enough that you won't know.
Oh, brag on her. What's
Yeah.
yeah, what's the secret? Let's look behind the curtain, no pun intended.
Oh man.
Yeah, behind the curtain was drywall, I think.
True.
So yeah, in your eyes, what is something that maybe she's being a little too humble about?
Well, and I mean, I'm going to draw the parallel to music again, right? There's a fine line between overcorrecting something or putting too much effects on something.
That's probably a good segue to let's talk process. Like, how do you build a song, Class? Like from beginning to end, do you? No, I know a lot of people start at the piano and they're figuring out chords. It sounds like, if I had to guess, maybe some vocal harmonies, some vocal melodies, and then or writing out lyrics. Like, where do you start, and how do you usually end?
It starts with an idea, I think, songwriting. And it could be any idea. It could be a lyrical idea, a hook, a riff, on any instrument, a beat, a sound, a flavor, a smell, and you need to pursue it. And usually, let's call that inspiration.
Sure, yeah,
That is that
muse, whatever you want to call it, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
that is the thing that happens, and then I mean, for me, that usually means I need to go, quote unquote, pregnant with it for a while, and often it is like if it's gone the next day, then it wasn't worth it. But if it's still there, then I have to put the work into it to complete it, to finish it, to put
like if you can't get it out of your head, kind of
yeah,
a feeling.
yes,
Yeah.
and it's there's a big difference in doing commission work, songwriting for other people, than there's if it's my own thing, because and I haven't really had the headspace or maybe even the inspiration to do a lot of songwriting for myself lately, but I do still do a lot of songwriting for other people. And even then, there needs to be an idea, even though there's a time crunch, right? There's a deadline. Suddenly, there's an expectation, and very similar to what Denise was saying. I need to know the people first. Oftentimes, music work with publishers, where it's just like, all right, let's get together and write something for an artist, is very difficult if you've never met them, if you don't know what they like, what they dislike, what they
Sure.
are currently going through, etc. But if you sit with a person and you get to know them, then often inspiration kicks in, and you don't even know where you're going to go until that spark hits. But then, yeah, after that, it's work. It's just
Sure.
continuing and just like, all right, let's build something around this.
There is a grind to it a little bit. There is a
Absolutely.
there's a hammering, how whatever metaphor,
Yeah.
you gotta sit down and do it. Yeah, how do you have eight studio albums. Four of those can be found on Spotify. So guys, if you want to check out Mr. Jambor, you can check him out on Spotify. Is it also on like Apple Music?
Yeah.
Is it, you can kind of find it YouTube, things like that, most of the normal platforms?
Yes. I hope. I think so.
You better check after the show, make sure it's all there, right? So we did take the time to listen to a lot of your music, and I really liked a lot of it. My
Thank you.
my favorite album was Paradise Lane, and my favorite song from the catalog happened to be from that album. It was Babylon, and guys, you're in for a treat. He's going to be performing that to close out the show. But before we get to that, just kind of talk us through how you built something like Paradise Lane and built the song Babylon, because I'm a sucker for tied notes where one word or even a letter is this long tied harmonic a
Hmm.
note from value to value in something like a pre-chorus or chorus. And so kind of just walk us through some of those items.
I think for the Paradise Lane production, And I'm not kidding. I think I came into the studio, which was recorded in Germany, with I think it was 90 songs.
Oh wow.
And
So
they
like
were
are they in demo form with the
yes,
like
yes.
90 songs? Okay. So they're
This is
like
demo
the
form.
rough, the rough cut
Yes.
of them. Okay.
And some of them, just here I am with an acoustic guitar and lyrics and melody, singing it to the producer. And boy, that was a tough throwing out of babies, right?
Oh, yeah.
But of course, I mean, I knew that was way too way too many. Well, and then during the process of recording it, and again, this was when did we record this? 2009. So it was a long time ago. We went to a music store and we found a vocoder, and back then people weren't using vocoders yet. And it's like, all right, I need to use this vocoder. And and I love building my own harmonies, right? That stacking harmonies. I mean, that's something that I just love to do. But
Yeah.
then there was the sound of the vocoder that I just like, I've never heard this before. I want to use this. And so then we went back and I rewrote things again and then wrote new songs while in the studio. This so we had to throw out even more. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was pretty painful. But I think when you like the whole thing of working with phrasing and syllables and long notes and harmonies coming in and out of that is a something that just happened in the combination of them of the real vocals and the harmonies recorded and then the vocoders coming in and out. Yeah, so that's what happened. I went to a music store and found a vocoder.
Now, that reminds me to ask you as well. The first I've only heard the four albums that you have, and for some reason, since I did know a little bit about yours and Denise's background. I knew you were both from Germany. For some reason, I was expecting these songs to be built in a German language.
Hmm.
And so when I heard English right away, I was like, of course my spidey sense went off. And that's when I first was like, I think I have to ask him, like, did you feel obligated to write in English, knowing that would be a better way to sell your market or sell your music and put it into markets that would help to cultivate a bigger audience? Or did you always want to do that?
I think you're absolutely right. It is there's two worlds that are colliding there. There the German speaking world, which definitely has its own music scene, and it's a big music scene. It's a large market. It's the third largest market, like after US one, and then I think Japan number two. It has its own thing, and it's doing its own thing. But I grew up with listening to English speaking music, to English music, and the phrasing and the way that things are done there was something that was just in my head. And also, I played a lot outside of Germany. And if you want to play in Scandinavia, in England, in anywhere around the world, right? It
Mhm.
helps if you use the Latin of the time, right? The language that everyone kind of agreed to. Yeah, that's the one that we all understand. So, wanting to do the international thing and being thrown into it, I really didn't have another option. I guess I could have gone bilingual, and I did sing on.
Ooh, yeah. What
I
would that
did
have been like?
I did sing on some German speaking projects back then, but they were not under my name.
Ah, okay.
But yeah, my corporate identity that I wanted to create with my name was which I could do throughout all of Europe. Yeah, and have people understand it.
Denise, let's bring you back in the conversation because I want to start talking about, after you guys got married, obviously when there's two artists in a household, sometimes there's inevitable collaboration. You guys are going to kind of rub off on each other, right? Just like any married couple does. But as two married individuals that are also artists, I would assume that would kind of feed into some of your craft, some of your art as well. So with that being said, does Claas like make recommendations about your photography? How does he help you build some of your pieces, if at all?
Yeah. Oh, he does.
Because the first thing I noticed was, every every photo I saw of him online, or after a certain point, I assumed you took that shot too,
Yes.
right? So,
Exactly. So that one photo session we did, I'm his personal photographer since then.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So we definitely collaborated in that sense that I took quite a few things for his press releases or his following albums. Then we used to take quite a few road trips around the US before we had kids, and I think that was really nice to just like travel around, and I just took some landscape photos, or I just put him in front of the camera so he had to model for me, and he didn't seem to mind, so that was great.
So I'm guessing I'm getting to know you guys a little better. So you told me you're the introvert, and I'm guessing Claas is the extrovert, and that's how you guys kind of even each other out. I'm guessing.
Yes, that's probably accurate.
Like you pull her out, to parties, and then sometimes Denise, you anchor him when you need to. You pull him back when he's going too far, something like that.
I'm gonna say yes, but lately she's been pulling me out more. That's
Oh,
true. But
okay.
then usually she wants to go home before me when I'm out. So
There's a category. Did you know there's a category between introvert and extrovert?
Huh.
It's called ambivert, like you're ambidextrous, ambivert.
Ah,
So,
yes.
Denise, you may be an ambivert.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Does that mean you're just unhappy all the time? Like,
No, no, you have qualities of you have a
okay.
little bit of introversion in some situations, and you have a little bit of extroversion in some situations.
I think I have to have that as a wedding photographer.
I think so. Yeah. When you said you're an introvert, I was surprised to hear that. But I've also met a lot of introverts that are very, they work with a lot of people. So that is a characteristic that I see in some introverts sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's pull it back. Tell me, yeah, how does he take your craft to the next level? How did he help you evolve?
I'm thinking of like one particular moment where like I woke up, I look outside, and it was a super foggy day. And I was just like, whoa, this looks so awesome. We need to go outside and take some photos. And I just saw this location and I really want to do something. And he was just like, what? What do you want? And I was just so excited and really wanted to go like right this instant. And he was like, okay, well, let's get some clothes together. And he would just go with me and do that. And we went outside and I put him in this tall grass and we took some pictures and created. And I think I just love that he would just support me in that. Or now when I come home and most of the time I let him look over a gallery and be like, what do you think? Is that working fine? Is that like cohesive? Does it all work together? Or if I'm really uncertain or can't decide between pictures, I let him look over, or I don't say anything just to see his reaction if he notices something. So yeah, I really appreciate his opinion.
I noticed the wrong things. Just saying.
But you're also the guinea pig, so you're allowed to, But you said culturally you're very direct, so you don't want to be disrespectful and lie to her, right? So
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, in that instance, I really need the honesty because I don't want to send out to my clients,
So I love that there's that directness with you guys as well. So Claas is one part guinea pig, one part feedback, and then how does the shoe fit when it's on the other foot? Denise, do you give feedback on his music? Do you say, "Oh, this is not good," like honey? No.
Yeah, but sometimes like, oh, they want it like that. Okay, it's fine.
Like it surprises you. Okay.
If you ask me, I definitely give some feedback. Often it's like really subtle things that he's going for, and then he's like playing me the 3 versions of this song, and he's like, "So which one?" I'm like, "Oh, those were different. I'm sorry." It's like I don't hear that. Like my ear is not trained. It's sometimes when I show him a picture, I'm like, "This is too green." He's like, "I don't see it. I don't know what you're talking about." I think sometimes if it's too deep in the own craft, our eyes, our ears are trained differently, and then we cannot give that advice, of course.
But then that makes you the perfect like general audience type of feedback, right? Would Claas, would you agree with that? Like she's not thinking about the real technical things but because sometimes you just want the audience to just like something, right?
Yes, of course. Back in Germany, we have this term called Hausfrauentest, which of course we have a term for everything, right? I mean, that sounds
No,
terrible.
educate us,
It
educate
sounds
us.
terrible when you translate it. It's
Oh,
the
please translate it then.
it's the housewife test.
The housewife
Basically,
test. Oh, I like that. I like that.
which means if like I guess in the traditional old fashioned family home, when there was someone with a new song, while someone was doing whatever chores they were doing in the kitchen, you would turn on a song, and without telling them that you were turning on something new, and you'd see how they react to it, like without having any knowledge of music. And so if they start bobbing their head or singing along or humming along, it's like, all right, this song is working. Let's try the next one. But with no explanation and no context, right? It's not, again, it doesn't translate very well. But yeah, I try not to do that. I try not to do that because poor Denise needs to suffer through me editing these songs all the time anyway. And since, you know how this goes, so there's suddenly this 4-bar loop that you're listening in a
Oh,
circle
for
to for
hours. Oh,
hours and
oh
hours.
yes. Oh
And
God, yes.
she is in the house with me while I'm doing this. She may be in a different room, but
And you're
sometimes she
tweaking
walks
one
through
little
this.
thing, and they
Yes.
don't realize that it could be a big deal, but it's gonna take another hour to work through it, right?
So in those moments, she thinks I'm completely insane anyway. She tolerates me doing that. It's like, but yeah, I'm just shifting the kick drum from 100 hertz to 95 hertz, and I'm trying to tune the rest.
Her way of helping you is patience. She's
Yes.
she's letting you, get through the journey of what feels like the endless process that is mixing. So let's before we wrap things up, I do want to hear. I always like to hear, if we had the magic wands, right? What would be the dream gig? What would be the perfect stars aligning thing that you could see yourself doing? Denise, let's start with you. What would be your dream gig in the photography world?
Yes, Klaas had a conversation with somebody once, and they told him like, do you make a living with what you're doing? And he said yes. Like, well, that's your success right there. And I think that's in some way true. Like, I
Yeah.
can do what I like, and that's how I also make my money. So my passion is my profession, and I think that's amazing.
Absolutely.
I cannot imagine having a 9 to 5 job. I would not know what to do. Photography is just all I like, all I want to
It would be
do.
shooting curtains, Denise. It would be
Yes,
shooting
besides curtains, please. So yeah, I think I am doing what I love, and I just want to keep doing that. Weddings is the thing in the moment for me. Maybe this will shift, and I will do more families at some point. But right now, weddings, that's the thing, and I think I keep with that for a while.
I think again, time changes so much. If you'd have asked me before COVID or before kids, um, I would have, wished for the next album release and for the next world tour and for a bigger stage and to be on the road as much as possible. And my priorities just have shifted so much. I'm completely happy not touring at the moment. If something comes up that seems like an amazing opportunity, I will definitely consider it. But right now, it's almost like creating more space is like for family is even more important. Now, I would obviously love to grow in my production, to grow in my mixing. I would love to become better at what I do, and with that, it's the working with more people who are more experienced and looking over their shoulder and learning from them and inspiring one another. That is always like a big thing that I love to have. And I have to say I did have that more in Nashville, and I did have that more in Berlin and in Hamburg than I have it here. But that's probably my own fault. So yeah, what is the dream gig? The dream gig, I think, to really answer the question, is to, of course, not have to worry about money, but at the same time, also have enough space to to grow in the craft. But no, right now I am purely producing and writing for other people, which is great. Like even having like seeing 18, 19-year-old people still being creative, still,
So you're more of the producer now. Your role is shifted a little bit.
yes. And when I see the dreams and aspirations of younger people, and I see myself in the passion and the desire, and at the same time I'm imagining like running into the same roadblocks and making the same mistakes. I hope I can maybe help, and not by patronizing, but by just being there. And if they do ask, I can answer.
No, that makes perfect sense. So let's connect the people with the Yambors now. So Denise, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you to schedule that face to face and hear that dream photo shoot and bring that to life? What's the best way for people to connect with you?
Best way is probably going to my website and reaching out to me over there. It's just my name, Denise Jambor Photography. And no, it's not photography, just Denise Jambor. Denise Jambor Photography is my Instagram. You can also find me there. Shoot me an email, and I would love to connect.
And then, Mr. Jambor, what's the best way for people to find your music, to buy your music, to connect with you for writing, production, all the above?
If you can figure out how to spell my name, then
I'm going to spell it for the good people here in a minute. Both your names.
Then you can put that into Google, and you will find me somehow.
Well, Denise, Claas, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been such a pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
thank you.
I want to say thank you to the good people listening as well. Thank you for listening as always. But before we go, again, guys, you can check out Denise Jambor at her website, and that is Denisejambor.com. You can also reach out to her by email at contact@denise-jambor.com. Again, that is DENISE-JAMBOR.com. And if you want to get a hold of, don't worry, Claas, I'm going to spell it out for the good people. If you want to get a hold of his music, buy his work, get in touch with him, to work with him, it is CLAAS P period, and then same last name, JAMBOR. If you want to email Mr. Jambor, you can email him at cpjambor@gmail.com. And guys, you know what to do. Take it away and give them a holler so you can touch base. But until then, I want to say thank you again for listening. If you want to check us out, you can always check us out at novodayproductions.com. Instead of the normal outro, I think it would be fitting for Mr. Jambor to play us out. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, performing Babylon, Claas P. Jambor.
I can't